How many people believe that we are energy? How many people believe that? How many people believe that there's actually something that you can do about your energy? In other words, you can impact it. All right, most of you do. The rest of you, we got to work on. The further I go down my own spiritual path and the more I play with this stuff, the more I'm really tuning into this idea of protecting, if you will, my energy, my light, because it is everything to me. And in the past, when I was growing up, I wasn't as sensitive, if that makes sense. And so I was willing to do pretty much anything at any time, at any place. Just ask me, I'd do it. And what I'm realizing more and more as I get older is that may not be such a good idea. And the reason I think that is because there are definitely and unquestionably certain things, certain people, certain stuff that I get into that feeds my energy and feeds my light and makes me feel better and happier and more joyful, and there's other things that take away from it. Anybody notice that? Good. I mean, even if you aren't really into this stuff and you're just getting introduced to it, you know when things make you feel good, or a person makes you feel good, or a story makes you feel good, or a song makes you feel good, or a walk in nature makes you feel good, versus when it does not. Everybody go, yep, I get it. Okay, good. Good. So the thing I want to talk about is this idea of boundaries today, and I call them the sacred boundaries. And normally when we talk about boundaries, we're talking about this idea of personal boundaries, right? But today I want to talk about sacred or holy boundaries, which is a little bit different than a regular boundary. So a regular boundary is obviously a clear line that we set to do what? It's to protect us, right? It protects our time. It protects our energy. It protects our values, our well-being in everyday life. It's like, yo, that ain't going to happen. And so there's this thing where it's like boundary. I'm not going to let you come into this space. I'm not going to let you do this. This is not okay with me. So we're setting a boundary, right? And it's about what is and what is not acceptable. And whether that's in our relationships, maybe it's at work, maybe it's in our environment, or communication that's in a way respectful, but it's also like a firm no. We're not doing that. We're not. And I don't know about anybody else, but as somebody who has been a people pleaser my entire life, that has taken me a while to figure out how to do that. Does anybody else suffer in that affliction? Yeah, I got a few of you in here. Yeah, it's not easy. Why? Because we want everybody to be happy, right? So the idea of these boundaries is super important. For example, saying like, I can't work late tonight, or I'm not comfortable discussing that topic, right? Our regular boundaries. These are boundaries that we set. They protect you emotionally. They protect you mentally. And in some cases, they can protect you physically, right? So that's what a boundary does, right? Now, a spiritual boundary is actually a little bit different. And what I mean by that, there's still this no, I'm not okay with that, but it goes even deeper than that, right? It's not only about what you allow in your life, but it's also what you allow in your soul. Oh, that's a little bit different. And so when we start to do this work, we start to understand that our soul becomes our job in some ways to so protect it. It becomes mine. And what I'm here to share with you is nobody else is going to do that for you except you. How can that be? It's really easy. Everybody else is busy with their lives. Everybody else has got everything else going on. And so guess what? It's not like they don't care. They care, especially the ones that we care about, our family, our friends, the people that we love. It's just that they're busy with their own life and they're not paying attention what is going on inside of us. And so that's what happens. And so these boundaries, these spiritual boundaries, are a conscious choice to protect your connection with God, with Source, with each other, right? It's your inner peace that we're talking about and the integrity of your spiritual journey. This stuff becomes so important when you start to do this work. This energy thing, this connection to your soul, that when you finally start to do that on a regular basis, I'm just going to share with you my observation, not just my observation, but a whole lot of other people's observation is it becomes sacred. This is the most important thing that I can do to take care of myself. And then the next question is, okay, cool. Well, what does that look like? How do we do that? And we'll get there in just a second. But the spiritual boundaries actually help you guard your thoughts, your emotions, and energy so that you can remain aligned, that's what it's about, with your highest truth. It's all about alignment. It's all about staying in alignment with your divinity, the thing that's inside of you, the thing that calls to you, that voice inside of you that's constantly tapping your shoulder and saying, yo, pay attention to me. That's what this is about, right? And this might mean sometimes, in some cases, limiting your exposure to fear-based conversations or news. It might be stepping away because you need to pray or you need to meditate about something. Or maybe it's choosing to stay grounded in love even when people around you aren't. You can do that. You can do that. You just start to come up with ways in your own practices, and that's what I'm talking about here, are practices to make your state of being the most critical thing that there is. Nothing else matters but my state of being. And I'm going to do every single thing I can to make sure that that is protected. That's my job. And what I'm going to share with you, or invite you into, if you will, is to consider doing the same thing for yourself. Because what happened before in my life is that I made everybody else's state of being more important than mine. And guess what mine wound up being like? Take any guesses? Not great. Yeah, right, Charles. Absolutely, yeah. So these spiritual boundaries, they've been talked about a lot, and it's not defined like this, but I found it interesting as I went back and I was preparing for the talk. Myrtle Fillmore said, when you guard your thoughts, you guard your life. Keep your mind stayed on God, and your aura will shine in divine light, right? From the Native American tradition, your energy is your power. Guard it as you would your own breath, for what you give away carelessly cannot easily be reclaimed. And then from the Yoga Sutras or the Hindu traditions, the prana is the breathing, and by avoiding the entanglements that drain it away. So you notice how all of these have this underlying message that says, protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself. Pay attention, pay attention. How's your energy? How's your energy? How's your energy, right? You know, Myrtle, guard your thoughts, guard your life. The Native Americans, guard as you would your own breath. Hinduism, preserve it, don't drain it away. And yet we so easily let other people, other places, other things actually take it away from us if we're not careful. And that's what it is. It's coming down to, where is this drain happening in your life? Where is it, and then what can you do about it? Could you do something that's a little bit different? Or, even if you don't, could you do something to even make it better? So it's not just about setting the boundary, but then it's also about this idea or this thought of, what can I do to actually make it even better? And that's when it becomes magical, and that's when it becomes fun. Some great examples of that, Gandhi. He was known for his tireless activism. The guy was constantly going, but he fiercely protected his inner peace. He did. Each day, no matter how busy or crazy it was, he observed a period of what they called mana, which is complete silence. Every single day, he would go into it, right? And this was his way of keeping his energy really super high and from scattering or staying aligned with truth, in a sense. So people often ask why he was unavailable during times of crisis. And his answer was really simple. I have to first hear from the voice of God before I can serve man. That's what he said, right? And then, of course, my buddy Jesus, in the Bible, you'll know there's several times when he says, hey, I need a minute, right? And so in the book of Luke, it says, after teaching, healing, and pouring himself out, so give, then guess what? He had to go withdraw to a solitary place to restore his spirit. So you can tell, especially if you're somebody who winds up give. Do I have any of those people in here? That's what I figured. Give. Then it takes a minute for us to be able to restore and to bring back the energy back into our body, back into our spirit, so that we can carry on and live our lives at a really high level, right? And for Jesus, this thought or this idea wasn't avoiding anything. Some people think, well, he just didn't want to deal with it. That's not true. It was a boundary. And that he knew what he needed to do in order to keep at a certain level and to keep serving in love. That's what he did. And so he knew the most important thing for him and for me and for a lot of you folks is what? Staying connected to Source. Constantly be staying connected to Source, to God, right? And this is a beautiful example, whether it's Gandhi or Jesus or anyone else that you see, it's this idea of tending to your own energetic field and taking care of it through solitude and communion with God. Remember, your energy is sacred. It is yours. Nobody else is going to protect that. Nobody else, only you. So true sovereignty, when you really start to play with this thought or this idea, is a living practice. In other words, this isn't something I do one time and then I'm good for the next month and a half. Not even close. That's not how it works. You actually embrace it every single day and not simply just one affirmation that you do now and then and like, I'm really, really good. And as I continue my own practice, I'm observing and practicing this stuff a lot more, paying attention to what's going on inside of me. How am I doing? What's happening? How is this feeling? Does this feel good? Does this feel bad? How does it feel? Right? It's kind of just like when you brush your teeth every single morning, or you take a shower or a bath every single day. This idea, this thought, just think about this for a minute. This energetic hygiene. What if you were to actually start to think about your own energy as your body? And just like your body needs to be cleaned, what if you started doing it with your energy field? Do you think that might change things? Do you think that might be something that's worth your time and your effort to consider doing? Maybe, just maybe, right? And that leads me to a few questions I'm going to ask. And the first question would be, what about you? I'm curious. And I'm going to open this up to you because I am genuinely curious. What do you do to protect your spiritual boundaries? What are some thoughts? Meditate. So you meditate. Beautiful. Thank you.
Breathwork yoga.
Breathwork yoga. Love it. Prayer. I heard that. Thank you. What else? What? Read, breathe. Reading. You like to read. Beautiful. Thank you. Go outside, nature, one of my favorites. Yes. What else? There's a bunch of, what's that? Kundalini yoga, beautiful, love it. Painting, beautiful.
Consciously focusing on my own soul, and it's in accord with my soul. It's certainly within my boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah, so consciously focusing on his soul and feeling if he's, and I'm trying to paraphrase this, Carl, but you can literally feel, okay, are we good or is there something off? Yeah. How many people do that one? That's a good one. That's a really good one. You can literally feel, am I on or am I off? How many people have that experience? Yes. You can do that if you practice this stuff. You can see, oh, am I connected? Is this feeling good? Am I high vibing or am I not high vibing? And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to have anything to do that's not high vibing. I don't. Why? Because I like vibing high. That's why, right? So thank you for all of those who have shared. I'm sure if we were to sit here and make a list, we could probably come up with 100 things. There's no one thing. I go back to this continuously. Each and every one of you has your own way of doing this. And my suggestion is start paying attention to see, oh, does this feel good or does this feel off? Do I like hanging out listening to this type of music? Do I like hanging out with this person? Do I like having these kinds of conversations? How does it feel? How does it feel to you, right? And then, of course, that brings up the second question, or second poke, or the second prod for you, which is this. Where might you need to set or strengthen your own spiritual boundaries? That might be one to spend a little bit of time with. I don't know. Are there any people, places, or things that every time you think about them, you go, ah! You might want to pay attention to those. Right? But I invite you over the next couple of days, couple of weeks, just to spend some time with this, just to kind of, if anything, just make a list. Pull out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. Make it simple. Good, bad. That didn't feel so good when I did that. That felt amazing when I did that. And start just giving yourself a chance to become consciously aware of the things that make you feel good and add to your energy field and make you happy versus things that don't. And after a couple of weeks, I promise you, you'll start to notice some things that you can do to change the way that you interact with the things that don't make you feel so good. In some cases, you may stop doing that. In other cases, you may need to adjust something. But it gives you the opportunity to figure out, okay, what's adding to my experience, what's adding to my love, what's adding to my joy and happiness, and what does not. Nobody said you got to sit there and be miserable. Nobody said that. But for some reason, some of us bought that hook, line, and sinker, that was what we needed to go through. How many people believe they needed to go through pain and suffering this lifetime? Yeah, I did, for years and years and years and years, until all of a sudden I'm like, who signed me up for that? Right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can do something about this. I can change it because of who and what I am, right? And so I wanted to share with you just some thoughts or ideas in terms of some different spiritual boundary techniques or practices that could potentially help you along the way. The first thing, begin each day with centering, some type of centering in spirit, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, a quiet moment and gratitude. You can do a lot of different things because this grounds you in this connection and just starts you off the right way on your day before the demands of the world rush in. And when you begin your day aligned, you're less likely to absorb other people's crap. You are, or the news, or fear, or anger, or negativity. Many of you know this. I've had a meditation practice in the morning for, 25, 30 years. And I'm telling you right now, good luck trying to get a hold of me from 5 a.m. till about 6:30 or 7 o'clock. It ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. Why? Because to me, that is sacred ground that nobody touches. Nobody touches it. And it's something that I've developed and something that is so important to me. And I'm not going to say it happens every single day, but it sure does a lot of the days. Why? Because I know what that does for me. It feeds my soul. It is critical that I do that for me personally every single day. I don't compromise on that. Here's one for you. Practice the power of the sacred no. For all you people pleasers out there, might not be a bad idea to occasionally say, not going to do that. That doesn't feel good to me to do that. No matter how much, there's a part of us that goes, no, I got to do that, I got to do it, I got to do it. No. Learn how to say no. When you're tired, don't tell anybody you'll do something or whatever it is that you got going on. Just say no. Not this time, maybe next time. That would feel better to me. The sacred no is an incredibly powerful, powerful, powerful tool, especially for the people that have a hard time saying no. Learning how to say no is a really healthy boundary. It's a really healthy practice to learn how to say no to. And again, remember that not every request, opportunity, or conversation is meant for you. You don't have to be a part of all of them. Just learn how to say no without guilt. That's it. Right? The sacred no is really, when you think about it, it's really actually a holy yes. But what you're doing is saying yes, instead of saying yes to somebody else, you're actually saying yes to you. That's what a sacred no is. That's what that is. Limit your exposure to energy drains. What would some energy drains be for you? What would they be? Charles? Needy people, okay? Yep. Social media, yep. For sure. News, did I hear somebody scream out news? Thank you. Yes, news. What else? Crappy job? A corrupt government, okay? Speaking about the past, yep. These are great. What else? Anything else anybody can think of? Worry, bothersome neighbor. Yep, thank you both. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Holding on to negative thoughts. Yeah, yeah. Toxic positivity. I think that would also be called bypassing. I'm just guessing, but I think that's what she's getting at. Yeah. Yeah, everything's great. And inside you're dying, right? It's bypassing. It's bypassing. Yeah. You know, protecting this boundary is about choosing the environment that feeds your soul, not depletes it. So that's what I'm talking about. So it was so interesting when I went to this men's retreat that the first thing we did is we pulled up and they said, okay, give us your phones. And you should have seen the look on my face. It was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to follow. And what if somebody tries to get, and all this stuff is going around inside of my head. But I'll tell you right now, it wound up being one of the most freeing things I've done in a long time. In fact, it was so powerful for me that I'm going to start implementing on that. I haven't figured out what day it's going to be, but it's going to be one day a week. The phone is not, it's not going to be turned on. It's going to be turned off. Why? Just to breathe. I don't need social media that bad. I don't need to watch my emails that bad. I don't need to see all the text messages that bad. I really don't. The most amazing thing is my phone was off for 2.5 days. And you know the crazy thing is? The world just continued to go forward. It really did. I know, shocking that I wasn't there to oversee everything and make sure everything was okay. It continued without me doing anything. No social media, no news, no text messages, nothing. It was heaven. Absolutely heaven. Taught me a big lesson. Create rituals for energy clearing. So think about that. I'm going to invite you to be creative about this. Like, what can you do that's going to help you clear your energy? Why? Because what happens is as we go through life, or we go through our day, or we go through a hard conversation, whatever, it's like these little remnants kind of get stuck on us. That's literally what's happening energetically. And then what do we do to clean that, clear it? What can we do? Well, we talked about one thing you could do is get up in the morning and meditate, or go for a walk, or go hug a tree, or call a friend, or do whatever you need to do. But there's other things that you could do. Like, what if you actually created a practice of checking in with yourself throughout the day? Hey, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Is this feeling good? Am I having a good day? Or am I off a little bit? And then if I'm off a little bit, what does that look like for you? For me, sometimes it's just a matter of just going like this. Stopping, holding my heart like I'm giving myself a hug, closing my eyes, and just taking a deep breath in. That's it. And then connecting, because that's what it feels like when I do that. There's something about me putting my hands over my heart that just instantly connects me. It connects me to myself, lets me know I'm here, brings me into the present moment, and there's also something that happens when I do that that connects me with God. Now, That's something that I do. What could you do? But the point is you're creating a check-in instead of going absolutely crazy throughout the course of the day. It used to be funny. Way back when, I would get up in the morning, and I'm telling you, I'd have the most killer meditations on the planet. I would be on cloud nine. I would come out of my house in the morning, and I'd be like Superman. I'd be like, "Rah!" And by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I am like, who was that dude? Because he left. He is not here anymore. And it's like, I used to think, like, how can I get that high in the morning and go home and be that low? Until all of a sudden I realized the answer is you don't have to do it that way. Like, you can literally check in with yourself periodically throughout the day just to see how you're doing, and then create rituals for yourself. And again, what are some other rituals that I do? Oh, I don't know. I take my shoes off and I go stand on Mother Earth. And I sit there for 5 minutes and I don't do anything else. I just put my feet on the ground and sit there. Anybody do that? Grounding? Oh yeah. Powerful, right? How about go hug a tree? Anybody hug trees? I love hugging trees. I'm a big tree hugger. What are some other things that you can do? I don't know. Go do some breath work. Go call a friend. Go read something that motivates you or inspires you. Do something about your energy. Do something to raise it, whatever it means for you. We all have different things to raise our energy. And if you spend a little time figuring out what those things are for you, it makes a huge, huge, huge difference in the way that you show up, the way that you are being, and the way that you react when things that come up. It makes a huge difference. So, anything that you can do throughout the course of the day. And for me, it's like in the morning, and then I try and do a checkup in the mid-afternoon, and then I'm also trying to check in at night, unless something has showed up that has literally blown my world to smithereens, and then I'm going to flat out stop. Because if something has happened that dramatically, then I know I need to do some deep inner work, and then I'm going to do everything I can, if I can, to handle it right then and there. Because why? Because I know until I do that, it's going to sit there. And I don't want it sitting there. I don't like holding on to the stuff. Let's get it. Let's clear the energy, whatever the energy means. But I'm clearing my energy. And the last thing I do is before I go to bed, anything that's not mine, out. This isn't mine. Let it go. And then I call in the angels and I ask for help to clear it so that at night when I'm in my dream state, I can go do all the fun things I like to do during my dream state. So it's just a matter of coming up with some different ideas, some different thoughts. Don't complicate this. Make it easy for yourself. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's just a matter of you having enough care and love for yourself to go, I matter enough to check in with myself during the day to make sure that I'm okay. You're worth it. You are worth it. You are absolutely worth it, right? So, last but not least, retreats and restore. Go away. I went to a men's retreat. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. Go get away. Get away from the friends. Get away from the family. Get away from your phone. Get away for a couple of days. Go on a silent retreat. Go out and do a journey quest. Go out, whatever it is for you. There's nothing right or wrong here. There's no one particular thing that you need to do. It's just get away to reconnect with yourself. That act in and of itself can be one of the most magical, powerful things that you could do, is just coming back and connecting with yourself and being. Jesus, Gandhi, and countless spiritual teachers all did the same thing. They all went away, often alone and in silence. Why did they do that? To reconnect. Wasn't that complicated? Because they knew the power of connection. They knew the power of stepping away. So, and if you do all of these things that I'm suggesting, then what happens? My observation has been, the more that I do that, the more these things happen to show up. When you spend more time doing this, you wind up more and more and more. You wind up in stillness a lot because you're always listening. There's more joy, there's more peace, there's more gratitude, and there's more love. How many people want more of that in their life? How many? Yeah, good. I'm in the right place. So, having said that, was this helpful? Amen. I hope so. I really, really hope so. There's so many things, there's so many tools, there's so many tricks, there's so many ways of doing things that we have available to us. It's just a matter of putting them into practice, practice, practice. And again, your practice is going to look a little bit different than mine, but what I'm going to suggest is while we love to see you here on Sunday mornings, we really do. Thank you for coming and joining us on Sunday mornings. If all we did is listen to me talk and we don't take these things and try to apply them in our life, and I don't care what that looks like, maybe it could be a men's retreat, maybe it could be coming to an Akashic Records class, maybe it could be going to a circling that we do every other week here, maybe it's coming to the women's group, maybe it's joining the Course in Miracles, maybe it's enjoying the Way of Mastery. Listen, there's a million different things that you can do. Find your thing that helps you connect. And while, again, we love to see you on Sunday mornings, I really, 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 really do. Each and every one of you, it makes me happy to see you here. But I'm also encouraging you to know that there's more that you can be doing, whether it's an early morning meditation, going outside and doing some breath work, grounding, whatever. You're all amazing. You're all a beautiful reflection of the divine, each and every one of you. You are doing some amazing work down here, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not. You are. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what you've been through. I do care about what you're going through, especially those people that are struggling right now. I do care. But what I'm telling you is that this is an amazing time to be alive. And I'm just inviting you along for the ride. And I know who you are. I know where you came from, and more importantly, I know where you're going, because that's where I'm going. That's where we're all going. I just think it'd be cool to do it together. Having said that, God bless, namaste, namaste.